What's up, Heat fans? We got a great show on tap for you guys today, and it really is about these two fellows you see on screen right now, and it is Damian Lillard trade negotiations. Are they finally happening between Miami and Portland? And then plus, is Nikola Jovic too good to play for the Miami Heat? I'll explain that in a little bit. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. But before we jump into Damian Lillard side of the show, I do want to show some love to Nikola Jovic because him and Team Serbia did really, really well during the FIBA World Cups. They made it to the finals and evidently just came up just short against Team Germany. But shout out Jovic, shout out Team Serbia for finishing silver. And it just makes me so sad to see my guy Nikola Jovic crying over losing. Poor fella, but I just want to show him some love. And the way you guys can show him some love is hitting that like button, because I want to give all the love in the world and all the support to Nikola Jovic because he's been balling in Summer League, balling at the FIBA World Cups, and I just want Heat fans to show him love. And if Nikola Jovic came across this YouTube video, I want him to know by the like button and the like number that Heat fans have his back. All right, let's jump into the Damian Lillard trade idea and what is happening in today's show, because he could be coming to the 305 very, very soon. There are indications that negotiations might be starting to heat up between Portland and Miami, and it all started from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski because he said this late last week. There'll be more conversation with the Blazers and prospective teams over the next few weeks than there were over the last couple months. The next real deadline is the start of training camp. And I found this quote very, very interesting because if you turn back the clock, hit that rewind button right now, you can go back to me saying on the Heat Report, on this channel, saying that Adrian Wojnarowski was looking like a mouthpiece for the Blazers organization. Well, if you connect the dots here and you still believe that he is more connected with Portland's side of the negotiations, and all of his reports come from Portland, well then if Portland's saying negotiations might heat up, then they actually are going to heat up, and that means good things for Miami as they might be finally able to land Dame in the 305 before this season kicks off, or tips off I should say, in a month and a half. But I'll ask you guys today, and it is today's pinned comment, and it's a little bit of a guessing game, and I'm bringing a new different variation to this question I've asked many times on the channel. When will a Dame trade happen? If you think it's going to be before training camp, which is almost about 2-3 weeks away, type your ones. If it's going to be during the season, type 2, maybe the trade deadline. Or if you think it's never going to happen and Dame is always going to be a Trailblazer, type 3. Today's pinned comment, so let that ad break play, scroll down, and answer today's question. I still think that Damian Lillard is going to be traded before training camp tips off, and I don't think I'm the only one that believes that. Shams came out with something interesting today about Damian Lillard sitting out and not reporting to camp if he's traded to someone other than Miami. So it's becoming a little bit of a messy situation between Damian Lillard and Portland, which is good for Miami because if Dame makes it messy and makes it ugly for Joe Cronin, it's more likely he will be traded to Miami and they will finally get Dame to get paired up with Jimmy and Bam. But Marc J hopped on the Heat Check, a podcast by the Miami Herald, and said this: I think it still gets resolved before camp. The thing is, I think it just hurts both Dame and the Blazers the longer it takes. He doesn't want to be there. Do you want that? Do you want that loudness? Do you want me there on media day? And then he followed up by asking questions about Dame not wanting to be in Portland. But I've been saying this for months. It does not make sense for Joe Cronin to drag this out any longer. And I understand. I can get the line of thinking from the Blazers GM, Joe Cronin, saying, I'm not going to negotiate with Miami early in the offseason, in July. Even early August, maybe I can get behind, because he was hoping another team would jump in and get into a bidding war between the Heat and that blank team to drive up the price point for Damian Lillard. But when Lillard is so set on joining Jimmy and Bam in Miami, there's no other teams that are going to hop in there. And today's report by Shams on the Rally saying that Damian Lillard is going to not report to training camp if he's traded to anywhere but Miami confirms that. It is Portland, it is Miami. They are the only two teams that are going to be negotiating. There isn't a third team. Well, maybe there's a third team that takes on Tyler Hero. But my point is there's not going to be a third team or a second team, really, that jumps in for Damian Lillard. So Portland and Miami, get in a room and start talking for the Damian Lillard trade package. Because if you look at the Trailblazers roster, it doesn't make sense for them to keep Dame on it. They drafted Scoot Henderson with the third pick. You have Anthony Simons, who averaged 21.1 points per game last season. Jeremy Grant and Yusuf Nurkic fill out the wings. But even if you were to bring Dame back and run this lineup, it makes zero sense. Why? Damian Lillard, 6'2". Scoot Henderson, 6'2". Anthony Simons, 6'3". Are you really going to run a three-guard lineup and then have Jeremy Grant and Nurkic as your only forward/big men in your starting lineup? And then you also have Shaedon Sharpe, the 23rd overall pick, and Chris Murray off the bench. Matisse Thybulle, Kevin Knox, Nasir Little, Ryan Rupert, who was a second-round pick. It does not make sense for Dame to be on this roster come training camp because he's only going to hinder Scoot Henderson, Simons, and Shaedon Sharpe. And if they kept Dame, the starting lineup would be out of whack based off height sizes and matchups. They would be abused defensively. So Cronin is only hurting his own team by keeping Damian Lillard. I get that on paper, they might look fine because you got Simons, Grant, Dame, and Nurkic with Scoot Henderson. That looks fine on paper. But the defensive fit would be horrific, and you have too many ball handlers. Are you really going to make Scoot Henderson play off ball? And if you do that, that means Anthony Simons is playing off ball. So two of your younger, more promising players are going to be off-ball guards, which is not what they are good at. They would be better off moving on, cutting its losses, acquiring young players, acquiring first-round picks from the Miami Heat, and letting Sharpe, Simons, and Scoot Henderson do their thing, especially Simons and Scoot running a 50-50 ball handling system in that starting lineup. Cronin's only hurting his own team. If he wants to do that, go ahead. But it makes sense for the two teams to start negotiating like Woj said and like Marc J. Spears said. Well, I'll say this. If Damian Lillard does get traded to the Miami Heat, and I do think he will get traded, we will be going live here at the Heat Report. I don't give a shit if it's 1 a.m. on the East Coast. I am going live when this Dame trade happens. So make sure you're tuned in. Make sure you are subscribed. We're also 40 subs away from 5,100. It'd be pretty nice if we were able to get there on today's video. Join us here at the Heat Report because we'll give you the best Heat coverage in the offseason and when the season starts up in a month and a half. Also, I got to hook you guys up with the best sports book in the game, and that is BetUS, and they're running a great promo for you guys right now. If you go to chatsports.com/bet and input promo code CHAT125, you're going to get a 125% deposit bonus. That's like getting a pizza for free and more, and another pizza for free. It's an unbelievable deal on tap for you guys at BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125. Get that deposit bonus. You can place a bet like I have on the Eastern Conference Finals. The Miami Heat are plus 450, which is good for third in the Eastern Conference. That's a joke because I think Dame's going to get traded, and when he gets traded, they will skyrocket to number one in the Eastern Conference. I can guarantee you that. So beat the books. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125. Hammer the Heat right now. All right, next on the show, is Nikola Jovic too good to not be traded? And it's a little sad to kind of have this discussion. And if you don't know what I mean by that, it's kind of like this, right? Nikola Jovic has flashed so much at the FIBA World Cup in the Summer League in Las Vegas this past season that there is no way that he's not the headlining young player in a Damian Lillard trade package. Because when you think of what the Blazers want, they don't want Tyler Hero. And I think there is an actual growing possibility that the Heat retain Tyler Hero in a trade for Damian Lillard, which we'll discuss on a future show. But going back to Jovic, he has played so well in this FIBA World Cup. And it just ended, like I said, him and Serbia finished in the second spot, holding up silver. And he averaged 10 points a night in those 8 games, playing 24 minutes a night. Shooting was so efficient for Nikola Jovic, which is why I really got high on him even more over the past 2 to 3 weeks. 56% from the field, 42% from beyond the arc is something that the Heat would absolutely love out of the second-year guy from Serbia, where if he was on the team, he would be that perfect 4 next to Bam and Jimmy. But this is what I'm talking about. The stats are too good for him to be not in that Damian Lillard trade package, right? Jovic showed up on the big stage because you can talk about the NBA being better competition, and that might be so. But when you talk about elimination games, like between countries, the pressure is so much high on these guys. Like, they might be higher than the NBA postseason, if we're being real here. Like, these guys feel the weight of their country on their shoulders while playing these games. And Jovic showed up when it mattered. And it's not the only time he showed up this offseason. In the Summer League, he played extremely well. Only played in 4 games, but he averaged 15 contests, 4.5 boards, basically 2 assists. The efficiency wasn't as good as it was in the FIBA World Cup for Nikola Jovic, but that's fine because I would rather have the efficiency be higher in the World Cup because, like I said, there's more pressure on the young man. And let's not forget here, he is only 20 years old, and he's already the second best player on the Serbian team. That could change, obviously, if Nikola Jokic was playing, but Nikola Jovic ended up being the second or third best player on that Serbian national World Cup team. And there's more than just the stats that meet the eye. Shout out Transformers and Shia LaBeouf for that little quote. But perks of Nikola Jovic: 1, he's a good shooter. I just showed it. He can shoot the rock from deep. And in the World Cup, he shot 42% from 3. That's excellent. He can lead a fast break. He has great touch around the rim. And his basketball IQ is on a different level. For being only 20 years old, he has a high IQ and could be a player that makes the heady plays, the right plays in the biggest moments. He doesn't let the pressure get too big to him, as I've stated throughout this video. And there was this really good-looking guy that put out a good tweet on social media, and I wanted to give him a shout-out. Oh, that guy looks a lot like me, actually. That's pretty strange. You should follow him on Twitter, too, by the way. But I said this the other day. Watching Nikola Jovic lead a fast break is an absolute beauty. He's got long stride. He's got great body control. The IQ is there. He can get to the cup, draw a foul, or find an open man leading the break. Special talent. You are not going to see a person that is 6'10", 6'11", with a 7-foot wingspan be able to lead a break like that and make the right basketball play 90% of the time at the ripe age of 20 years old. Nikola Jovic has flashed extreme potential for the Miami Heat this offseason, and he's almost flashed too much talent because I do think Portland is going to renegotiate with Miami, and the first name they're going to tell Pat Riley when they're negotiating that they want is going to be Nikola Jovic, and that's going to break my heart. Also, shout out Chef Trilly for this on Twitter, so give some love to him as well. He pointed this out, and it really caught my eye on Sunday. He said that Mike Schmitz, who is an assistant general manager, who is also with ESPN as an ESPN NBA draft analyst since 2017 before joining the Blazers front office last season, he loved Nikola Jovic throughout that entire draft process, had a sit-down interview with him. So it would not surprise me if Mike Schmitz was getting in the ear of Joe Cronin and telling him, listen, I know they don't have maybe the headlining guy you want, but Nikola Jovic is a really good young prospect, and he could be a really good backup for them behind Jeremy Grant. And I wouldn't be surprised that after some time, if they traded Jeremy Grant, it made Nikola Jovic their full-time starting power forward. Because I'm not going to lie, if I was a Blazers fan, Simons, Scoot Henderson, Shane Sharp maybe at the 3, and Jovic at the 4, that's a pretty intriguing young core if I was Portland. But I'll ask you guys this at the end of today's video. Would you guys be sad if Nikola Jovic is traded? I'm going to be honest. I'm absolutely going to be devastated. I'm definitely throwing him in the trade package for Dame because he isn't a Tyrese Maxey type guy that you're saying, we're not trading this young guy for Dame. Jovic is absolutely tradable. So would you be sad if Jovic does get traded? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Like I said, we will be going live when a Dame trade happens, so make sure you do hit that sub button. Another reason why to subscribe, because we're going to bring out a video tomorrow about Kelly Oubre potentially signing with the Miami Heat if a Dame trade does happen, reported by Mark Stein. And we're also talking about Cameron Payne. Could the Heat sign him on tomorrow's show? So if you don't want to miss it, hit that sub button.